evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the world of V-Gaming Junkie News. You won't find no dross around here. It's nothing but pure gaming-related meatiness. It's all about the electronic good stuff as we dive deep in all that's new in the various interactive virtual worlds. 2K is under fire for having disruptive ads in NBA 2K21. Given the $70 and usually expected invasive micropayments, this just goes to show that some gaming companies really will do anything and everything to squeeze you for the last penny. It reminds me of when Extra Credits insisted a $70 price tag might be necessary, arguing it might just allow companies to relax on things like this. Clearly that's not true, because they'll take anything they can get. Given these games really don't change that much, I would probably just play one of the older games, but that's just me. That's the funny thing about capitalism. They'll keep doing things like this as long as they can get away with it. Fortunately, that means the customer has all the power. You can just buy something else that actually respects you and isn't just trying to squeeze you dry. On the subject, it seems EA is being sued over the use of loot boxes in Canada. According to GameSpot's reporting, the suit is filed over FIFA's Ultimate Team mode specifically, which is argued as being gambling. While it's only two customers suing, it's being done as a class action lawsuit, meaning it's on behalf of anyone who's ever purchased loot boxes since 2008. Much like the Epic lawsuit, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Seeing as how it's Canada, EA might just have something to worry about. I just get the feeling that a similar one in the US would prove a bit more difficult. I'm not really one to support overreach by the higher authorities of the land anyway, since people choose to buy into these things in the first place. Now, moving on to a much more pleasant news story, Kojima Productions has made it clear that they're working on a new game project. Games Radar reports over 25 new job listings. Given that Kojima has talked about making a horror game in November and Death Stranding is probably more inspired by Metal Gear Solid than anything else, it'd be interesting to see a Silent Hill-inspired project. You know, something like a Bloodstain, where it's just different enough to avoid legal issues. Given that the amazing PT was sadly cut short in development, I'd love to see Kojima take that kind of thing into fruition. A horror game that really screws with you like PT did would be very interesting, but we shall see what else Kojima has up his sleeve. It's amazing to see what some people are able to do within limiting factors. One such example is a Sea of Thieves streamer named Sightless Combat. As the name would suggest, the streamer played the game sans any kind of sight. It would seem that he used sound cues from the crew and game as a whole to be able to captain his ship. According to Games Radar, he would use haptics in the wheel as well as crew instructions such as 3 left to navigate with. He was even able to battle other ships without the ability to see, which can't be easy to pull off. It sorta reminds me of another streamer who managed to get through Ocarina of Time without any sight. One thing's for sure, if he had a pirate representation, you can bet that man would have 2 eye patches. Sony has attempted to justify the use of voice chat recordings to moderate what they deem unseemly behavior. They claim it's only the last 40 seconds, 20 seconds directly and 10 seconds directly before and after to serve as some kind of context. They claim it's just sent off to their quote-unquote consumer experience team for them to evaluate and possibly take action. You don't have the option to opt out of this, and even if they can be trusted to just delete it after they're done with it, I'm still very much against the concept. I believe giving the players options to ban, mute, maybe the option to auto-mute players that are persistently muted by others enough to be deemed a poor reputation would be far better options. I'd love to know what you think, though. It seems that Phil Spencer has hinted that Game Pass subscribers might get a streaming stick to go along with it. No confirmations, of course, but he said you could imagine something to that effect and combine it with a controller. While I think game streaming is never really going to be all that good, since input latency is always going to be less effective than native rendered games, it'll be interesting to see if this becomes a thing. I can tell you this, it would almost certainly be the final nail in the Stadia's coffin, since the subscription actually provides free games far more than Stadia offers, where the good games you still have to pay full price for. Now moving on to the release dates for the following week, courtesy of Games Radar. There won't be any until the 27th, which actually sees quite a number of releases. Starting off is Carto for PC and PS4, Cobra Kai The Karate Kid Saga continues for PS4 and Xbox One, and Ghost Runner for the 4 major platforms. This is followed up by Gravekeeper's Game of Crone DLC and Hammerting for PC, as well as The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 4 for PS4. The 28th sees Agos, A Game of Space for PC, Gibbous for the Switch, and Strobophagia Rave Horror for PC. The 29th has Auto Chess for PS4, Blair Witch Oculus Quest Edition for PC, and Esports Life Tycoon for Switch. In addition, PUBG is getting a 9th season and Undungeon Arena releases for PC, also on the 29th. Oh wait, there's more! Watch Dogs Legion releases on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Stadia, and Wanyan Sword 7 releases on PC, all on the 29th. The 30th has the Dark Pictures Anthology Little Hope for PC, PS4, and Xbox One, as well as Pikmin 3 Deluxe for the Switch. Finally, this week's epic freebies are Layers of Fear 2 and Costume Quest 2. It's pretty fitting that they've been releasing Halloween-themed games. As always, this concludes this week's news program. Next week will be the 31st, the finale to this horror news theme, but it's actually on Halloween, so I'll have to come up with something special to see it off with. Don't you worry, I'll come up with something, so be ready for that. And speaking of which, I think I'll make my Friday livestream Saturday then, just so I can livestream directly on Halloween. I'll have to do something special for that as well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the program and were well informed. As always, I Let's Play every day at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., usually live stream Monday and Friday at 4:30 p.m., and these news programs are Saturday at 6 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time, of course. You can subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to keep notified on that kind of stuff. A like always helps, but if you enjoyed the video, that's enough for me. That is it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in with me. Make sure to spread this video around like wildfire, and I'll see you next time. Capitalize on life, and I'll see you next week.